caring for your family during these times is admirable. But you only get one take at this life.
If only they would just die.
Pardon?
Nothing.
Okay, before I say anything, if you haven't seen X, you totally should, but you should listen to or watch my review, because that was back when I was doing video ones. Click on the card on the top right corner. So when I went to go see X, there was a post-credit scene that was them announcing a new movie. And it's like, oh, we're doing a prequel. And it's like, oh, well, that's cool, but maybe you want to wait and see how well this does. And it did well enough, but because it was distributed by A24, it will have like a cult following. It'll have a following sometime in the future if it doesn't do well. So yay. And I definitely think that a lot of A24 movies will have like cult followings, and some of them have. But this one is the prequel to X, where it sets on, if you've not seen X, there's an old lady in it. This is the old lady. This is the prequel. This takes place, so X takes place in 1978, 79. This takes place in 1918, and I thought it was like the 1930s. So I was way wrong. So the movie's set on a character named Pearl, who is has been dealt a very bad hand. Her husband that she's very loyal to has gone over into the military, and she feels very abandoned. Like he could have easily taken her with him to go overseas, but instead she's stuck on the farm with her very abusive, mentally abusive mother and paralyzed father. So, but she really wants to break out. She wants to not be a farmer anymore. She wants to be, as she says, like a dancer in the pictures. And so so this honestly kind of reminded me of like Joker a little bit, where he saw the world as his stage. You know, like there was the moment in Joker where he's in the bathroom and he's just dancing like nothing else is on his mind. So he just focuses on what he wants to do. This is kind of the same way. And I saw one review that said that this is like if Psycho was made in The Wizard of Oz. And they got it down. I'll say this. This was really good. This was, I think, as good as X. I can't pick a favorite one because they were both really good. Because once I'll say like, oh, I thought X was better. Something from Pearl would be like, no, that was better. And then something from X would be like, oh, nope, that was better. And I'm like, I can't decide on this one. So, and that's also what's really hard for me with A24 movies, is that the ones I've seen, they're really, really good. And they've definitely built up a reputation with me where they pulled an MCU on me, where the MCU will start introducing new films and new characters into the universe, but you're like, who are they? And they're like, oh, don't worry, we got the Marvel logo on it. Oh, now I have to see it. A24 is kind of that same way with me, is that every time when I see a trailer for like an A24 movie, I'm just like, okay, that looks interesting, because A24 has a reputation of producing independent movies that really won't, big studios like Universal or Sony or any of those big leagues, they will produce. But now, like with Robert Eggers, he did, he did The Witch and then The Lighthouse with A24, and then when he did The Northman, that was with Focus Features, who is owned by Universal. So that is technically a big studio movie. So I really like what A24 does, and this seems to be they have a series on their hands. But something that I was a bit worried about going into this was thinking, this feels I feel like this is going to be like a Friday the 13th movie where it's very quickly made, like a yearly release, because both X and this movie came out same year. Like, I believe they pulled like a Back to the Future where they shot the first one, well, where it was Back to the Future parts 2 and 3, right after they finished shooting 2 and they were in post-production on 2, they immediately started shooting 3. So that when 2 came out, 3 was already in post. So maybe it was like that. Because yeah, this was I don't know how they did it. Maybe they did maybe they shot Pearl first, maybe they shot X first. I don't know what they did, but they ended up pulling it off. Ty West wrote and directed this. He actually he wrote X, he directed X. This, he directed it and also co-wrote it with the main star of the movie, Mia Goth, who I've only seen her in these 2 movies, but she's really, really, really freaking good. She's an amazing actress. I mean, in the first one, she was playing 2 characters at once. And I didn't notice that at first. When I looked at the credits, I'm like, wait, she was playing 2 characters? Really? I mean, I noticed one, but I didn't notice the other. Really? Okay, cool. And with this, there's so many moments in this movie where the character of Pearl is like an emotional wreck, that when she's like, there's a scene where she's crying, and the crying isn't like the kind of the weeping you would hear from like any movie. No, she's like, it's like crying and screaming at the same time. And it felt very real to me. Her performance in the movie was very, very real. And it made me feel bad for the character. You can see where she was coming from, like how she wanted to be this, and then just the world around her was basically crumbling her down, and you feel bad. But one thing that made me think she's just an incredible actress is in a lot of A24's movies, they have a monologue scene with one character. Like with The Lighthouse, he had Willem Dafoe do, I think it twice. But in The Lighthouse, it's the one that I just love is the one where he's calling in the Triton, and he's just going off, and he's not blinking at all, and that was like 2 minutes. This one almost tops that. I think it's on par with that, because there's a scene where it's just Pearl is just sitting down talking to it was her stepsister, I believe, and she's just talking. I'm not gonna say what she's saying, but it's just one take, and it's like 3 or 4 minute long take, and it doesn't cut away. There's no transitions. There's no nothing. There's no cuts. There's no edits to that. It's just that one shot. It's that just one take. And I'm just like, wow. I was expecting this to like cut around a lot. Nope. It was an uninterrupted 3 to 4 minute long shot. And like, that is just very impressive. And I give it a round of applause for that. So this one, it felt very, very Wizard of Oz with the way the colors were used and how it was shot in some scenes, but they're no shy of it being weird. and also violent. It's the violence is on the same level as X, where it's like the second act forward, it gets into like, okay, we're just gonna throw everything at you. This has less nudity than X did. But but still, overall, this was really good, especially like her descend into insanity, and especially there was something at the very end when the credits were rolling that was just another long uninterrupted take where I'm just like, this is just disturbing. because you might have seen in the trailers and like some of the posts where she's looking straight at the camera and she's smiling, but she's also crying. They have an uninterrupted take of her just smiling and starting to cry. And it's just like very disturbing to look at. And it's like, it gets you on edge because you're thinking, what's happening? So if you've seen X, go see this. It really, really, really good. This is right on par with the first one, or with X. I give this great. This is also on my best. This would be on my best of list, which just keeps getting higher and higher and higher with every month. So the best of list this year is going to be hard. And yeah, I really liked the way it was basically progressing her descent into madness and thinking what she's doing is right. And it was also very sad, so you can feel for her. So yeah, and then they already greenlit another one, which is going to be the sequel to X. This was the prequel, then they're doing a sequel to X. So I'm very, very, very much looking forward to that.
I want to be loved from as many people as possible. But truth is, I'm not really a good person.